crazy moments that blew my mind on paternity court.
And mind you, when you on that phone, everything, you just wait, be quiet, because you're on the phone. Hello, what y'all doing at the house? Who is that in the background? That's what you do on those extended vacations.
She doesn't.
I shouldn't have
I'm
to
the father
because
that's
he's
there.
been in his life since he was 2 years
been there,
old, and he
exactly.
should take
If I've
that
been there
extra
this
step
long.
on.
We had sex a good 5 times that night. Yes. So I mean, don't let him sit here and play the role.
I didn't
Okay.
The doubts start to troll in, and all hell starts to break loose. This frantic dad wants answers to the paternity puzzle that's been digging holes in his mind. Is he going to get the answers he's looking for? Well, let's find out, shall we? It's about to be another bumpy ride of baby daddy drama.
You claim that when your son turned 3, the defendant, your wife, admitted to you that you may not be his biological father. You have petitioned the court for a paternity test, seeking a definitive answer today with hopes that your son is biologically yours.
Now, Mr. Picket and Miss Picket sure do look like the cute couples we expect them to be, but hold up. There's more to see than meets the eye. These two have been caught up in so much baby drama. Guess what, people? They're even separated. Must have been one hell of a ride for these two.
You two are separated right now. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Pickett, why are you so sure you are not Patrick's father?
Don't forget, these two have been separated for a while. Mr. Picket takes a vacation for work purposes, at least so he claims. He gets back from his vacation and pays a visit to Miss Picket to check on their son. That's when things start to get a little tricky. Trust me, you aren't ready for the mystery that's about to unfold.
I go to like different houses that she's at, and periodically I see this same dude at the different houses. So I'm like, okay, it's nothing. We're separated.
Mr. Picket, with the Mr. Innocent role, continues to explain his side of the story, and for some reason, it just doesn't make any sense. It's so confusing. Judge Lauren tells him to back it up. The things that popped out of his mouth were totally mind-blowing.
Back it up.
I'm gonna back it up.
Say it again.
Her friend was dating my friend. He told me that the other guy that was there was for Shanae.
After being apart for God knows how long, they decide to give it another try and get back together. Yep, we all know where that's leading. Of course, things seem to be okay at first, but soon after, it all turns into wildfire. Things spiral out of control, and trust me when I tell you, it's worse than you can imagine.
Asking her, is these my kids? Is this my son? Have you been cheating? You know, I love you. I quit cheating. And you can ask the girls, they be like, man, I'm going home.
The little mysteries start to find their way out of the little corners, and things start to take an unexpected turn. Mr. Picket finds out that his wife was getting intimate with another guy just before his kid was born. Oops! Things are about to get real juicy, guys. I can bet on it. This guy had to be the most dramatic man to ever walk the planet Earth. At every single junction of his narration, there was always a hilarious reaction from him. Even Judge Lauren couldn't hide her amusement. Now hold up! All that laughter was about to turn into a real hot mess.
Oh my God, oh my God. And then I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Whoa. And then that was like, I walked outside.
Mr. Pickett, did you do that?
I did all of that.
Now, Miss Picket wasn't having her best day in court, trust me. You could read it off her face that she couldn't wait for the ground to open up and just swallow her. But come on! She cheated. I mean, it's only right that she felt that way. But is Mr. Picket in a forgiving mood? I strongly doubt that.
Do you believe what Mr. Pickett is saying, that he's a forgiving man, he's made some mistakes?
No. First of all, Brandon never forgave her for anything she done. He loves his kids dearly. He wants to be with them all the time. He has them now, but he's never forgiven her. He's never given her a chance for anything.
Well, the suspense is finally over, and the hassle of who the dad of their child is about to be revealed. It's been a bumpy and funny ride with Mr. Picket and Miss Picket. All eyes on the judge as she unleashes the truth. Get ready, paternity folks!
Case of Pickett versus Pickett. Mr. Pickett, you are his father.
Oh yeah. Look, I got something for you. Hold on.
Looking at this couple, you could tell they just weren't meant for each other. Mrs. Johnson dragged Mr. Johnson to court on the matter of him not being a good dad. Was Mr. Johnson having any of it? Hell no! Let's get this parenting drama on the road, shall we?
You admit that your marriage is at its breaking point, but you argue that it's because your wife undermines your authority and allows her 12-year-old son to disrespect you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. and Mrs. Johnson have been at each other's throats for quite some time now. Having been married for up to 7 years, their marriage has crash-landed from a state of bad to worse. And the shocking thing here, it's all because of their 12-year-old kid. Trust me, it's crazy.
He shows blatant favoritism. I'm angry. I just want my kids to feel equal. For an example, I put my kids in baseball. He would participate in our son Ethan's, and he would never participate in Elijah's.
Mrs. Johnson went on and on about how Mr. Johnson wasn't threatening both of their kids. In her words, he had a favorite one. You can bet Mr. Johnson wasn't just going to let her run her mouth. He comes in like a blazing inferno, telling her she's to be blamed. It's like a war zone in the courtroom.
To where
she doesn't enforce me as a father figure. She doesn't.
I shouldn't have
I'm the father
because
that's
he's
there.
been in his life since he was 2
I have
years
been there,
old,
exactly.
and he should take
If I've
that
been there
extra
this
step
long.
on his own. He doesn't take an extra step in, like, as far as going to the PTA meetings or.
Did I in the beginning?
As they kept trolling each other in the courtroom like it was another WWE wrestling match, mind-blowing revelations started to pop out. Believe me, these revelations will leave your jaws dropping from your mouth.
You said your son asked you, Mom, why can't I have a dad too?
Yes.
He does have a dad. I'm there for him. I potty trained him. I've taught him how to ride bikes. I played video games with him. I've tried
this was
so many
years
times.
ago,
It
though.
was years ago.
Mr. Johnson, but do you show favoritism? Do you?
No, I
To
don't.
your
Yes, he
biological
does.
child?
I don't
He
show
does. He
favoritism.
will go.
After Mrs. Johnson was done throwing shades at her husband in the courtroom, it was Mr. Johnson's turn to spill the beans. And my God, did he have a lot to say about Mrs. Johnson and their 12-year-old boy. It was like a love series that was unending.
It ain't just me, though. He disrespects everybody. He disrespects his brother. He disrespects me, his mother. He talks back. She fights with him constantly over the simplest things. Clean your room. Listen, don't talk back. It's always an argument. Take the dog out. Feed the dog. Whatever it is, he cannot do it.
The rants go on, and Mr. Johnson keeps pouring out his mind like a wounded lion. Does it end there? Of course not. Mrs. Johnson, filled with rage, jumps into the ring again and starts throwing shots at her husband. She even calls him a kid. These two can't wait to rip each other apart in the courtroom.
He's the one acting like he's 12 too.
I'm
And
trying
I
to teach him to
don't
be a
always
man. I'm trying to
reward
teach this boy to be
I
a man.
don't
How
always reward
specifically are you trying to teach him to be a man?
If he's 12 years old, can he pick up after himself? Can he listen to his mom? Can he respect his
So
elders?
learning how to do chores, clean up after himself.
Respect.
Mrs. Johnson's dad walks up to the stage and drops bombs on bombs, countering every single word Mr. Johnson said. It was almost like her dad was her husband's biggest oppie. Man just stood there, throwing heavy blows at Mr. Johnson. It was a tug of war, and nobody wanted to be beaten.
You ask Ethan to pick up your room, it's like, would you pick up your room? What's wrong with you? Why don't
So why aren't we here for the way you talk to Ethan?
You know, talk to him like a human being, not like an animal that did something wrong.
Knowing Mr. Johnson, you could bet he was ready for his comeback. As soon as Mrs. Johnson's dad was done talking, boom! He came with his comebacks that hit like bullets shot by a firing squad.
I don't want bad kids. I come from the streets. I don't want to raise kids that are going to wind up there. I don't want to be 15 and say, you know, I'm going to go pick them streets instead of my mom and dad. I did that. It didn't work.
So your fear is if I don't keep a tight rein on these boys.
They're going to what? They're not going to go to school. They're not going to get an education. They're not going to respect you, him, me, nobody.
The moment of truth was finally here, but the air was thick with uncertainty as to whether their marriage was going to be saved or shattered for good. Time to see what the future holds for them. I hope you guys are ready.
Having heard what we've heard thus far, it is this court's opinion and advisement that you both enter parenting classes together. Will you go?
I'll do whatever it takes for my family.
Apparently, this wasn't his first rodeo in court. Mr. Scott had been in court to previously question another woman. And now guess what? He's here to do the same thing again. He just doesn't give up. I hope you guys are ready for a paternity bombshell. It's time to ask who the daddy really is.
You're here today denying you fathered the defendant, Miss Kalan's 4-month-old daughter, Ezra, and today's paternity results will clear your name.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now Mr. Scott and Miss Kalon's relationship kicked off like a bad Tinder date. Trust me, it wasn't the regular Fiona and Prince Charming kind of love story. They met online and things got pretty cozy. It was almost like they were inseparable. But nothing good ever really lasts, right? In no time, things went out of proportion, like there was no lobe at all.
So she went to sleep, and she had a passcode on her phone. So as I'm looking at, as the day goes on, Their progress. I looked at my peripheral on how she did it, so I got her password.
Oh, wow.
I got her.
See, and you know why he does
Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, because I had trust issues. You know what I mean? I had trust issues due to what happened to me in my previous relationships.
As Miss Kalon starts to drop the subtle bombs, hidden truths about Mr. Scott start to surface, and they don't smell nice one bit. Scott's accusations lead to doubts, and the court becomes a stage for hurt feelings, trust issues, and a dash of online espionage. The drama unfolds as they question the foundation of their relationship. Trust me, the courtroom is insane.
I see that she had other text messages from other men.
But you weren't in a committed relationship, right?
Yeah.
No, not at that time. No, at the time of upon of her arrival.
No, see, that's why he's stuttering,
Women, you
because
don't
he's
even
lies.
know. Who am I married to?
Upon
Who
her
am I
arrival,
committed to?
we was together. But then she also admitted to me, like she said, that she was supposed to have a sexual encounter with another dude, but she said he couldn't perform. So that's what she admitted to me.
Mr. Scott didn't come to fool around. He had all his facts lined up, like he intended to send Miss Kalon to jail. Now things go sideways, and Miss Kalon paints him as one hell of a liar. The hidden cracks in their relationship start to show themselves, and things are no longer looking pretty.
We had sex a good 5 times that night. Yes. So I mean, don't let him sit here and play the role.
I didn't hear.
I took you. I never said that. I took you down. Yeah, I did. I took her down.
Moving on.
I took her down.
The whole courtroom was heated up like it was inside a pot of boiling soup. And guess what? It was all about to get even worse. It seems these guys had issues with each other for not picking up the phone when the other called. Everything started to fall apart, and the question on everyone's mind was, what's going on here? Who's telling the truth?
If I call you at 12 o'clock at night, not once, not twice, not 3, not 4, and you don't answer the phone, something's wrong. And then call, and
but maybe you work all night.
You can't call me you cannot call me the next day at 11:30 and say I was asleep. So you mean to tell me that you was asleep for 14 hours?
Mr. Scott, playing the role of the smart man, delved into the evidence he found in Miss Kalon's phone. By the looks of it, a few questionable pictures were enough for him to doubt the woman big time.
Pictures of other men's male parts, okay?
For real?
Pictures of other male parts, and it was another. She was like, "Well, I'm finna go to Lancaster to visit a friend, a family."
And she did it like that.
Pictures of other people's male
the guy
parts.
responds like, the guy says,
My
"Well."
kids would play with my phone, Your Honor. There was nothing like that in my phone.
But it was pictures of you all in lingerie and all this.
That's one of the first pictures I sent you.
As things kept getting intense, Miss Kalon dropped a bomb, claiming she was never in love with the man. Wait, what? Now, I didn't see that coming. They did start out all mushy-mushy, but I guess not all love stories end with a happy ending, and this just proves that theory.
How am I gonna have a family with a girl that's already texting other dudes? If you knew that you was feeling me and you was committed to me, like, oh, I'm feeling him, I'm not gonna talk to these dudes. I'm not gonna even have
I would come down and see him almost every weekend. How was that not feeling you or
True.
be
But
into
at
our
the same
relationship?
time, there was other dudes
You
talking
would
about,
hide me.
I'm going to Lancaster
every time I
to
went
visit
down
my
there, I
friend.
never met nobody.
And he says, oh, I can't wait to see you when you come back. Oh, I miss you too. Why? I'm not your friend. If I'm your dude, I'm your man.
Well, Mr. Scott seemed to be thrilled by the news first, or so the baby mama says. Dreams of a happy family were shared and everything. However, it all went down the drain when the baby came into the world. All hell breaks loose then.
Just met him not long before that.
I
was kind of like blurry about it myself. You know, who does that? Who gets pregnant the first time they go see somebody? I didn't know if that's what I wanted. I told him that plenty of times. You know, I don't know, you know, if you're going to be there. You know, I don't want to have a baby and raise it again
How come the baby
by
ain't got my
myself,
last name?
you know?
The baby don't even
Because
look
he
like none of
wasn't
my
even-
other kids.
The courtroom was engulfed with so much anticipation and expectation. These couples seemed to be quite good at fighting with themselves rather than being good parents. The judge, sensing potential future drama, wrapped up the case and went straight for the results.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics. In the case of Scott versus Kalon, Mr. Scott, you are not the father.
I apologize. I could be woman enough to apologize and keep it moving.
No one was prepared for the catastrophe that was about to unfold in the courtroom. This ain't the regular baby daddy or baby mama drama, so I hope you guys are ready for some intense blowbacks. It's about to be a showdown of truth and denial. Are you strapped into your seats? Let's dig in!
Mr. Harrington, you claim you are not the father of Miss Day's 1-month-old daughter, Nalani Day, and want her to stop pinning her baby on you. You say your sexual relationship with the defendant ended before she got pregnant.
Mr. Harrington was not ready to buy the idea of Miss Harrington pinning a baby on him. Yup, you heard that right. She's trying to pin a baby on him. So, Mr. Harrington dropped some heavy truth bombs, accusing Miss Day of the party peep, jumping from one guy to the next. Now, those are some serious allegations, Mr. Harrington.
What do you do?
He is not the father of my child. I am the Virgin Mary. There's no other possibilities. I have not been messing around with anybody else throughout the time that we were messing around.
Well,
So you are 100% positive Mr. Harrington is your child's biological father?
Miss Day was living her best life when, boom! She found out she was pregnant after having an MRI appointment. Trust me, she was in no way prepared. But was she excited about it? Of course she was! But the excitement soon starts to fade as Mr. Harrington starts to list several reasons as to why he can't be the baby daddy.
Anonymous texter, I swear. We got into a conversation, I got the text right here.
Let me see those,
Let me
please,
see
Jerome.
the text.
Look.
Let me see
You
it.
about to
Did
see
you make it up?
I swear to God, why would I make something?
I mean, you making up.
tripping. That's
So
just
you
stuff.
say
You tripping.
you got a tip from an anonymous texter.
Anonymous text.
A text comes through to your phone and it says,
Baby mama.
how your baby mama pregnant and her and your sister hiding it from you. It might be guy number 1, baby, though.
Now Mr. Harrington had no idea she was pregnant. He found out when he went through her phone and saw some really funny text messages. Oh, trust me, the level of denial that hit him was unbelievable. He was like, she's pregnant? Definitely can't be mine.
I didn't pick up the phone or
But you
something
never
like
told me you
that.
was pregnant, though.
I did tell you I
No,
was
you
pregnant.
didn't. I found out in January.
I found out in January, too. That's
No, you
when I
didn't.
went to go. Your Honor,
Lord have mercy.
when I found out that I was pregnant.
So all them missed periods and you
January.
all them missed.
So when I found out, I was already 4 months pregnant.
As Miss Day tried to defend herself, her stories weren't just adding up, and the judge for sure wasn't buying any of it. Something was definitely not right. You could tell she had so many secrets she wasn't ready to reveal. But don't worry, they all started to pop out one by one. It was a meltdown for her.
The tip was true that you were pregnant, but you're saying there was no guy number 1 and guy number 2.
No, it wasn't.
But you believe you were pregnant before you start talking to these guys.
I know I was pregnant before then.
Are you supportive of this pregnancy, Mr. Harrington? Are you at the doctor's appointments? Do you come for the birth?
Yes, I was there for the birth because I was saying to myself, okay, if I am a possible father, I don't want to have missed the birth.
Mr. Harrington had almost zero trust left in him, but he still showed up at the hospital. The defendant walks in, and there's a whole new picture to the story in play. Apparently, there was more to the story, and trust me, it was mind-blowing.
I'm her sister, her older sister.
Her older sister. And what do you know about the birth of Nalani that would indicate, since you are her witness,
Nothing.
that Mr. Harrington is Nalani's biological father?
Because when he came to the hospital, he asked her not to be named Nalania. He wanted her to be named Naya. He don't want to admit nothing because his girlfriend told him that if he's the father to this baby, that they would break up. And he don't want to go.
They broke up.
Moving on, the baby daddy comes up with an interesting chauffeur analogy to describe his fun times with Ms. Day. But that's not just it. PH, he came prepared with an exhibit. Buckle up. It was confusion conception time.
How did you even get what the due date was? You heard it at the appointment?
Yes.
So the doctor said.
The doctor said that.
All right, so you put that into a conception
and I hit
calculator.
generate in November 10th. How are you gonna have a baby with
Do
me
you
in November?
realize?
In November, when I left in the middle of October.
Ms. Day, you did admit that you weren't intimate with other guys until November because you were with him September, October.
Yes, ma'am. I wish that I had the messages because I went back to look at it. I didn't even chill with nobody until November the 15th.
Well, that was one heck of a calendar, and it's calculations. People certainly did their homework, and it was making sense. Mommy didn't vibe with that, so she laid into him.
No, I wasn't
you-
completing it in October.
You wasn't?
I wasn't.
You wasn't?
I wasn't.
You wasn't. Are you serious?
Now that all made this last part all the more interesting, won't you guys agree? Well, results were in, and Judge Lael seemed about ready to deliver her final verdict on the mess these guys created. Let's find out who was the daddy.
In the case of Harrington versus Day,
Mr. Harrington, you are not the father.
What? Told you,
Are
bro.
you serious?
Told you. Can I Millie Rock?
No, no, you can't.
Sorry, I bet.
No, you can't. You know why?
This ain't
Because you
mine.
have another child with her, so you're not gonna clown in here.
Okay.
Because that's acting a fool, and that's what I don't do.
But I told her. I told her that.
This case will leave you speechless. Miss McKinney had one goal only: to prove Mr. Davis was her biological dad, and stakes were through the roof for her. But hold on to your DNA kits just yet, because this case was just getting started.
Ms. McKinney, you are here to prove to the defendant, Mr. Davis, that he is your biological father. You say after your mother's tragic death and 2 recent medical scares of your own, today's results have become more important than ever. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's rewind a bit, shall we? Miss McKinney and Mr. Davis shared a romance more confusing than a Christopher Nolan film. They had a marriage, though it seemed more like a cameo appearance than true love.
Well, my mother told me that her ex-husband was Michael Davis. The defendant is my father. Also, family members have told me that Michael Davis is my father, and also my birth certificate reads that Michael Davis is my father.
Moving on, the alleged baby daddy shared his wedding adventure. These guys got married, and then there was a sudden exit. Oh yeah, Mr. Davis got a surprise of a lifetime on his wedding day.
What I'm saying is, the day we got married, I took off and we got married, and I had to go back to work. And so once I finished my shift off and I went back home, my house was dark, and when I entered the house, I turned the lights on, I acknowledged my wife and 2 other guys. She in bed with 2 other guys.
So, their relationship didn't survive the storm. Moving on to the time the plaintiff got to know about her father, it appears that fate played its role, and she got to meet him. However, the rainbows and sunshine soon faded after a couple of years.
They embraced me at first. Everybody accepted me at first as me being his daughter. And then, like, a couple years after that, it just faded.
Next up, Miss McKinney shared a couple of pictures that were just her desperate attempt at finding some resemblance with the family. While the poor girl didn't have a father on her side, she had a grandmother.
You also submitted a picture of you, and this is Mr. Davis's mother.
Yes.
And you feel like you saw a resemblance there as well. And she accepted you.
Yes.
Moving on, we get to know that the defendant believed it was the people that put this in the plaintiff's head, and he never once accepted he was the real deal. On the other hand, he believes someone else to be the father of this girl.
It's always been Michael Anthony Davis is your father from everybody, even other men that's supposed to be the father. They always said Michael Anthony Davis is your father.
Enter Mr. Williams, the guy who had been present throughout the life of the plaintiff, and he had some startling testimony to share. But he wasn't the only witness in this case. Mr. Davis brought along his wife as well. Things were heating up.
In 2000, we got a call from Amber. And then we set up the meeting, date and time, whatever, and we went and met her, but I never even doubted. All we went was what she said was on the birth certificate. That's all I can do, because she was already here. What else can I do? And so, and from then on, even to now, she's ours.
With all this family drama that has been going on for years, one thing was sure, that Ms. McKinney deserved to know her real father, and Lauren Lake had that answer for him. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. Here goes nothing.
Williams, you are not her father. The next result reads as follows. In the case of McKinney versus Davis, Mr. Davis, you are not the father.